The movie opens inside a car. Meredith admits she didn't eat at the party and says she's starving. Levon takes her out to get food and gives her a framed photo of her late mother. Meredith confesses that she sometimes forgets what her mother looked like because Roth removed every picture from the house. Levon gently reminds her that her mother looked just like her. Slowly, Meredith opens up. She admits she's angry at her mother for dying and leaving them behind. Levon listens and tells her he carries that same pain. Later, Levon meets with his lawyer, who explains the latest development in the custody battle. The opposing side claims Levon suffers from untreated PTSD and brain trauma from his military service. They are now pushing for supervised visits and want to reduce his time with Meredith from 2 hours a week to just 1 hour every 2 weeks. Levon insists he has to fight it. He says he has $10,000 saved from sleeping in his car. The lawyer warns that the court won't look kindly on his lack of a permanent home, but reassures him they'll try to figure something out. When asked why Dr. Roth hates him so deeply, Levon finally explains the truth. Roth blames him for his daughter's death. She took her own life while Levon was deployed overseas, after struggling with depression for years. The lawyer compares the situation to attrition warfare, slowly wearing the enemy down. He explains that Roth has expensive lawyers who can bleed Levon dry until he has nothing left. In the end, he says, their best option may be to negotiate a surrender. Meanwhile, Jenny goes out with friends in a rented party bus, handing out fake IDs as they jump from bar to bar, laughing and celebrating. In the background, a couple quietly watches them, snapping photos and following them. At their final stop, a bartender named Johnny gives Jenny special attention and seats her at a private table in the back. Moments later, he texts the couple to come inside. When Jenny goes to the bathroom, they ambush her and drag her into their van. On Monday, Levon arrives at his job site to find police everywhere. Inside the office, Joe and Carla break the news. Jenny is missing. She never came home after going out Friday night. They reported it Saturday, and by Sunday she was still gone, even missing her piano recital. Desperate, they turn to Levon. Joe says he recognizes a fellow veteran. His father was a Green Beret. He bluntly tells Levon they want someone who knows how to find bad people. They offer him $50,000 to find Jenny, plus $20,000 for expenses. Levon refuses, saying that part of his life is over. Later, Levon drives deep into the woods to visit Gunny, an old military buddy whose life he once saved. Levon still feels guilty for not being able to save Gunny's eyesight, but Gunny shuts that down immediately. Levon saved his life, and that's what matters. Levon explains that Jenny is a good kid and that he promised he'd protect her. Gunny smirks, saying Levon didn't drive all this way just to ask permission. If he's going to do this, Gunny tells him he has to fully commit, no half measures. Levon then visits the Garcias. Joe sits alone in Jenny's room, drinking and replaying an old recording of her playing Moonlight Sonata. Jenny once turned down a music scholarship to follow her father into land development. As Joe spirals, Levon reminds him that after his wife died and he left the Royal Marines, everyone abandoned him except the Garcias. They became his family, and Levon promises to bring Jenny home. Levon reviews photos from Jenny's night out and tracks her last known location to Skip's bar. Inside, he sees Johnny sliding drugs across the register. Behind the bar, he finds a broken security camera and one of Jenny's pearls on the floor. After Johnny closes the bar, Levon tracks him to his apartment using a planted device. Johnny is getting high when Levon enters with a shotgun. Johnny repeats the same lie he told police, that Jenny wandered off drunk, but Levon doesn't believe him. He drags Johnny to the bathtub and waterboards him, calmly explaining how the body reacts to pain and panic. Under pressure, Johnny finally breaks, warning Levon that the men involved are extremely dangerous, people who wipe out entire bloodlines. Before he can say more, 2 armed men burst into the apartment. Levon pulls Johnny in front of him as a shield and guns both intruders down. He checks their tattoos and realizes they are Russian mob soldiers. He stages the scene as a robbery and walks away. Jenny is shown locked in a dark room, whispering to herself in fear, wishing she could be strong. Outside Johnny's apartment, Levon watches a luxury car pull up. A Russian mob captain named Wolo Kolisnik arrives with 2 men. Inside, they examine the bodies and notice $90,000 missing, assuming it was a robbery. A cleanup crew arrives to erase the scene while Levon watches from afar. Later, Meredith calls him from school just to check on him. Levon follows the Russians to Wolo's home. Inside, Wolo slaps his wife during an argument. Levon sneaks in, incapacitates Wolo, and ties him over a water pit. When Wolo threatens him, Levon punishes him for hitting his wife, then shows him Ginny's photo. Wolo refuses to help. Levon cuts the rope, drowning him. He later translates Wolo's final words, pointing him toward the next target. As the Russian leadership realizes they're dealing with someone fearless and not motivated by money, they order Levon captured. Meanwhile, Jenny remains imprisoned. Levon contacts a DEA friend and learns the next lead, Hattie's Bar, a meth hub tied to the Russians. He infiltrates the place, earns the bikers respect through violence, and pretends to become a drug buyer to move further up the chain. The story continues as Levon closes in on the people responsible, refusing to stop until Jenny is found. As the officers step out of the car, Levon realizes the truth. They're on the Bratva payroll too. Before he can react, the Russians grab him and drag him into their van. Inside, the two men interrogate him, demanding to know why he's after Demi, and reminding him that the man Levon drowned was their uncle. When they try to tie his legs, Levon snaps into action. He knocks them back and grabs for their gun, but it slips and hits the floor. All three dive for it. Levon blocks them, slams both men around the van, and strangles one with a rope. The other lunges, but Levon fires a single shot into the driver, sending the van crashing off the road. When it stops, Levon shatters one thug's knee with a hammer and then finishes both men for good. He frees himself and pushes the van into the lake. Soon after, Simon stands over the bodies of his two sons. Cold and expressionless, he orders the Bratva War Council to convene. Elsewhere, the two kidnappers meet with Demi. He explodes in rage, furious that Jenny bit half their client's face off. After tearing into them with insults, he orders them to kill her immediately. At the Bratva meeting, Simon tells his men they're facing a demon, someone who killed two Bratva soldiers, drowned Władimir, and murdered his sons. When Simon demands revenge, the council assigns him two soldiers to track down Demi, believing Demi will lead them to the killer. They find Demi at a nightclub. Shots are fired into the ceiling, clearing the place in seconds. One thug punches Demi to the floor. Simon tells him the truth. His father is dead, drowned by the same man who killed Simon's sons. When shown Levon's photo, a stunned Demi admits he only met him briefly through a biker gang leader. Simon makes it clear this man is hunting him. Meanwhile, the two psychopaths hire a hacker to dig up everything on Levon, his Royal Marines past, his family, and his connections. Then they head straight to Dr. Roth's house. That same day, Levon gets a call saying no one picked Meredith up from school. After collecting her, he races to Roth's house and finds it engulfed in flames. Inside, he rescues Roth, who reveals the attackers were Russian mafia looking for Levon. Roth rants that violence follows Levon everywhere, but Meredith fires back, reminding him that Levon saved his life. Levon takes Meredith to Gunny's cabin to lie low. When Levon explains everything leads back to Demi, Gunny opens a room full of weapons, each with its own history. After gearing up and saying goodbye to Meredith, Levon heads out to wage war. Elsewhere, the kidnappers drive Jenny out to kill her. When she starts praying, they mock her and point a gun at her. Jenny fights back, kicks the weapon away, and causes the car to crash. She escapes into the woods as bullets rip through the trees behind her. Eventually, she flags down a police car, unaware the officers are also corrupt. They take her to a secluded house, where the kidnappers grin at her through the window. She's taken to a swamp and nearly executed, but a call comes in from the disfigured client. He orders them to bring her back alive, dirty and untouched. Meanwhile, Demi panics and tries to run away. Levon attacks his hideout, killing two guards instantly and using another as a shield. Demi grabs a woman and threatens her, but Levon shoots through Demi's hand and forces him to talk. Demi laughs and asks why Levon would kill so many people for one girl. Levon answers simply, because he promised to protect her. Demi then leads him to the compound and explains everything. Girls are watched, chosen like items, and sold to rich clients. Levon asks one last question: does Demi have a daughter? When Demi says no, Levon tells him he would never understand. Armed and ready, Levon attacks the compound as Jenny plays Moonlight Sonata on a piano inside. Explosions tear the mansion apart. Levon clears the building, taking down everyone in his way. Dutch and his biker gang arrive, but Levon kills them one by one. In the final fight, Dutch charges at him, and Levon kills him instantly. Upstairs, Levon rescues Jenny and kills the last of the attackers. Together, they escape on a motorcycle into the night. From a distance, Simon watches them escape. His bosses order him to stop. The job is over. By morning, Jenny is reunited with her family. Later, Levon returns to Gunny's cabin, where Meredith runs into his arms. For the first time in a long time, Levon sits with family, safe and at peace. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.